Good evening and welcome to episode 3 of The Debate. I am Gav Mack from Two Up Top. We have Dylan from the Armchair Pundits as well upstairs with me. How are you?
How are we, people?
Welcome to the show. And then we've got SJ from Everything Football Banter downstairs. How are you, dude?
How you doing, guys? You're good?
Yeah, man.
Making dreams work, mate. Making dreams work. Hey, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Oh, we've got our own domain name now. We hit over 100 subscribers. Woo! So it's youtube.com/C/2UpTopFootball. And also a week today, you can download Soccer Manager 2021 from the App Store and Google Play. So make sure you do that. It's a very, very good game. Feel free to throw your £2 worth in as well. It's an interactive show. We're going to be chatting stuff about football and everything that's been happening. A lot of international stuff we're going to be talking about, but feel free to throw your £2 worth in. And I feel that people will throw their opinions in to the first subject. We have no choice but to talk about it. And that is your thoughts on Phil Foden and Mason Greenwood. Now, let me give you a little bit of insight to this. Phil Foden and Mason Greenwood both made their debuts for England at the weekend against Iceland. They are under strict measures with quarantining and social distancing, etc. with COVID. You know, everyone is, we all know this, but they broke those rules and allegedly allowed 2 girls into their hotel room and did whatever they were doing. Now, they've both been asked to leave the squad and they will no longer be playing any part in this international break for England. So I'm going to come to you first, SJ. What are your thoughts on the whole situation, and what's your idea on the fact they've both been asked to leave the camp?
My thoughts on the situation. Boo-hoo. The young lads, they're 20. What's Foden? 20, 21? Greenwood 17, 18.
20, yeah.
Hijinks. They're kids. They're just kids. Like, what do you expect? You're in a hotel room, you know, at home, their mum probably still irons their underwear. But, you know, there you go. They'll learn from it. On to the next. Someone else will do it in 5 years' time, and someone else after that. You know, Carl Walker was an established senior pro. He did it while I was under 30.
Yeah, he was having sex parties and that, weren't he? So,
you know what I mean? Like, get over it, guys. It could be a lot worse. They invite girls over.
I was quite surprised that Walker got played.
Yeah, you know, so that's it. I just think the thing about this country is that you know, a minute ago they loved them, and the next minute they would absolutely just destroy them. You know, and I find that just weird as well. Like, they love them and they Phil Foden, fantastic. You got to bear in mind, only 2 years ago, when they were having to go at Raheem Sterling. Oh, he's being flashy. He bought his mum a house and he's showing off his money. Yeah. And Phil Foden was like, what a lovely guy. Bought his mum a house. Good kid. Yeah. And now they're hanging him out to dry.
Yeah.
You tell me.
What about you, Dylan? What are your thoughts on it?
See, I would agree any other time apart from COVID. Because the only reason is say, for instance, they catch it. If they don't stay in the same hotel room, say Greenwood goes back, gives it to Rashford, gives it to Sterling or someone like that. Sterling then gives it to someone at lunch, at breakfast, and it spreads to the next thing you know, the whole England team have got it, and it will. And you think the Premier League was affected more? That would be affect the Premier League even more. The Premier League probably wouldn't even start if all the Premier League stars get COVID.
Yeah, I'm I don't want to be on the fence. I really don't like sitting on the fence with these sort of things, but I feel like I've got no choice but to in this situation, and the reason why is because Phil Foden is 20 years old. He's got a missus and a kid of 2 years old. Why is he inviting girls into his hotel room? I think that's the main thing on it. But you know, you're under strict guidelines. You've been there for 5 days. You're under strict quarantine measures. So could you not have just waited another day and then gone off to... Because for me, I think both of those 2 players would be starting against Denmark, and particularly Greenwood, just for the amount of effort that he put in to... Like when he only could just come off the bench. But these 2 are stars. They're young stars, young up-and-coming players. Don't allow yourself to be put into a situation where you're going to be vilified.
Look, I hear that. But the thing is, again, like what do you want to do? They're on They play for teams that many of us can only dream about. They play in matches that many of us can only dream about. Against players we can only dream about. They earn copious amounts of money that many of us can only dream about. Okay, and then what we do is that we then make the footballers, we hold them to a higher standard, to a higher moral standard. Imagine footballers, we hold them to a higher moral standard, but yet there are others in other professions who we excuse. They're 19, 17, 18, 19, 20. What were you doing when you were 20 years old?
I
What were
was
you
working
doing?
in pubs and bars, you know. I don't have time to go out doing this sort of stuff. Do you know
But
what I mean? I was
you know,
working 80
like
hours a
pubs and
week.
bars or whatever, right?
No, I
If
know
you,
what you mean, though. Yeah,
yeah,
they are young. We have to remember that they are young, but they also are in the public eye. And I was saying to Dylan just before we went online, it's a very
yeah,
similar situation to if you're on a yellow card and you throw yourself into a tackle, don't allow the referee to make a decision. You know, think about your actions before you act on them, because yes, they might be 18, 20 years old, but they're adults. They must know the difference between right and wrong.
yeah. Okay, so that's the thing. So we're saying they know the difference between right or wrong. So if that's the case, how is it that we get other sportsmen, we get MPs, we get doctors, we get
Yeah,
whoever in
yeah.
our professions doing the same, if not
Mhm.
worse, right? With and they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s, but yet they're not vilified like that. Why? Why? So why is it that footballers are always ones who are held to a higher
But
standard?
it's always the footballers. All footballers
Yeah,
always get
guys,
thrown under the bus.
just give me a second, guys.
Always.
I'm trying to give me a second, please.
That's right. Whilst he runs off to attend to the family home, that's what happens. Because we are all family men. But I'll just read this comment out from Joe Church, who's watching the show. Thank you very much for watching. Strict guidelines shouldn't have done it. I understand that they're young, but they're role models with great power. With great power comes great responsibility. Hasn't Foden got a missus and a kid? Yes, he has. So
See,
therefore, he should be
That's
thinking
that.
about those actions
They
before
should
he
be role
acts.
models. Like that's what they should be thinking. Like they're supposed to be role models, and that's a big thing here. Like everyone's meant to be acting responsible and just going out, just like getting whoever they want, and aren't they? So
see,
Hugo's watching the show as well.
I can't buy into it. I can't. Everyone's saying he's got a wife. He's got a wife and child. Like seriously. Like I'm not saying it's right, but the bit you have to understand is that he's 20, 21. Why is it okay? Us, all right. Look at us as a normal guy walking on the street, normal Joe Public. What would
Mhm.
be a
yeah,
good age to get married? So Gav, Dylan, what would be a good age for you to get married? 30,
me,
35?
yes, I'd say about 30.
Right. Okay. So 30 is about fair enough because at that
Yeah.
point you'd have lived your life, lived your life a bit, done whatever, got drunk, blah blah blah, whatever, right?
Mm.
How is it that the footballer is 20 with a
Yeah, he's
wife and
married.
child?
Yeah, yeah,
That's abnormal. That's not normal.
yeah. It's like he's been trapped from an early age, and this girl got him.
Right.
This girl went.
So
He's going to
what
play
does he
for
what does
City
he
one
know?
day.
What does he know as a 20 year old? What has he done in life apart from playing football? What does he know about life itself?
Nothing.
He's a kid
Nothing really.
raising a
Still a
kid.
kid. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think there's again unnecessary pressure. Why is it that there's pressure for footballers being married with a child with family at the age of 21, but yet not for a pop star or for a politician? Or why?
Okay. Kevin Backman's watching the show from Norway. Two up top is worldwide. Did you know that? Why talk about the missus and kid? Did they have sex? No. But that's still speculative at the moment. They just broke the guidelines. Come on, guys, give them a reprimand and send them back home and put it behind them. So
That's
I'm,
what's happened.
I mean, I'm not. They've been sent home. I'm just more speculating on the fact that they've broken the guidelines. We are assuming that there was more to it, but for me, they shouldn't have put themselves in the situation in the first place. And it's very naive of both of those and the girls that were involved, especially if it was meant to be a secretive thing, putting it all over Snapchat and allowing the world to see it.
See, England for me are selective because they say that's really out of order. Undercurrents is really out of order. So here's my question: I'm straight up that right. If they're that in uproar about the whatever, say cheating or whatever, it's nothing. There's nothing. It's unfounded, right? Nothing. The fact that They had the two girls in the hotel room. Okay, cool. So that's England's stance. But yet, the FA in England were okay with the John Terry and Wayne Bridge thing.
Mm.
They were fine with that, right? Did it harm John Terry's career? Nope. Still was England captain.
Affected Wayne Bridges though, big time, dude, didn't it, lads?
And you got to bear in mind, John Terry, okay, he finished two international careers. Two. The first was Wayne Bridges, all right, okay, where John Terry had a wife, a kid, and blah blah, but he was still in the England camp, right? There was that, okay, and the second one, right, is with Anton Ferdinand, because within a year or so, Rio Ferdinand was at the England squad.
Yeah, I see what I mean. It's almost like a case of are you liked, are you favoured? Because hey, if we can sort of strip this back a little bit, only to a couple of weeks ago with the Harry Maguire situation.
Yep.
Harry Maguire had already been arrested, and he was still selected for the England side. It weren't until he was discovered guilty then there was more to it. It's like, oh, maybe it's a bad idea. But he has come out and said, if I was to pick, I can't remember the direct quote. So if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. But he said, like, I can't pick a best 11 on good behaviour because we wouldn't win. We want to win games. He said something very similar to those sort of things. So with that, do we then give Phil Foden and Mason Greenwood a slap on the wrist, send them home this time, but then select them in October?
I would.
Okay.
Dependent on their performances in the league, of course.
Right. So again, the Harry Maguire thing, the president, irrespective of it's under Southgate, the presidents had already been set when Woodgate and Lee Bonia, right, when they'd been arrested and they were charged, whatever it was, right? Okay, went over here, right, on that racially aggravated assault, right?
Yeah.
Woodgate, they were not chosen, they were not available for selection during that period.
Mm-hmm.
So whilst they'd been charged and they're awaiting trial, they were not available for selection during that period.
Yeah.
Right.
And
But Maguire is, and then to be told, well, you'll be back in October. So you're saying to me, one of the centre backs played on Saturday, basically, irrespective of what you do, whenever you play Saturday, whenever you play the next game, in October you're going to be out.
Yeah.
Well done, England.
I get that. Barney's watching the show. Make sure you follow his stuff on social media as well. He does Who's the Greatest with musicians and musical artists, and he creates a lot of divide with some people. Some of them I can't even vote on, but are really good. Make sure you check his stuff out. Let's talk about health first. They shouldn't allow the girls into the hotel because of COVID. So that's that's fair enough. Actual Simon, the topic, welcome for joining. Thanks for joining anyway. Late or not, don't worry, you're here. And it's your thoughts on Phil Foden and Mason Greenwood.
So, like, boys, but do you know, like, the story about France and, like, the way that their players got treated over the...
with Benzema and Ribéry.
Yeah, like the black... Yeah. Like, you don't think England could do something like that, would you? I don't think they would, but...
No, I don't think they would. I think there's too many yes men at the FA for me.
Yeah.
To allow them, if someone higher up than Gareth Southgate turned around and said, you need to pick these two kids for the next international, I can't imagine Gareth Southgate turning around and saying no.
Yeah.
And that's the thing against Gareth Southgate, but it's more against the whole system at the FA and how they feed the jobs down personally. That's just my opinion.
But that's how England thing. You got to bear in mind, certain jobs out there which are poison chalices, right? The poison chalice jobs in football is the Real Madrid job. No matter what, you're going to get sacked.
Yeah.
Barcelona, no matter what, you're going to get sacked. Germany, right? I think the Brazil team, that's another one. Poison chalice sort of thing. If you don't win the World Cup, you're going to get sacked. And the same with England, like when we've got some really bizarre like a right to win the World Cup. Like, no, we haven't. We're all right. We're only. Are we the top 10 side in the world? Yeah, okay, we are.
Just
but that's the top 10 side. Yeah, just about. But yet, the media have you. Come on, like you got to think about the media as well. They mocked. Remember Graham Taylor. They mocked him. All right, fine. He wasn't a great England manager, but they mocked him, turnip and blah blah blah. And then when they passed away, one particular rag, when he passed away, they tried to write some sort of glowing sort of like, praise of him. But they were the worst of vilifying him. Like no.
So do you think that's more to do with the English media as a whole?
The English media has a huge impact on what happens. Hugely.
Yeah,
They
huge.
Sorry, Julie. They can make the country love or hate you in the space of a week.
But this is the thing. This is what
in the space of a week.
You need to I've noticed over the past I've noticed it for about 8 years now. Yeah, every time we go to a tournament, they'll throw an English player on the bus 2 weeks before. So we go in there with a negative mindset. Like Raheem Sterling with the gun on his leg, not even knowing the story. They just publish I don't want to swear, but publish absolute shit about him and all that, and it does me head in. It does do me head in because they do it all the time, and it makes you think because no other country have media like us, and it's one thing that whenever you ever go to England, they'll say the English media is the worst. Jose Mourinho always says it.
Yeah. Okay. So they go about Sterling's tattoo, and he's got a story behind all the rest of it. But he says, it's a ghastly tattoo. What he needs to describe it. All the adjectives, they had it right there. All the horrible stuff, bang. But Beckham's got about 700 tattoos, and they're all, they're all tasteful. They're lovely and tasteful. Like, come on, we know what's in play. Like, we know. We know what's in play. We're not stupid, but that's the sort of thing that the guys are. And then what makes worse is that you wanna slate me. And then you want to have a pop at me as you want to pop in. Then you want to put them on some pedestal. Oh, you're terrible, terrible. All of a sudden, Raheem Sterling's gone for 2 years, space of 2 years, from this gun tattoo on his leg to he's an ambassador for racism.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, guys.
We were mentioning about poison chalices. That is one poison chalice for sure. The Chelsea job has been for donkeys.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. And you mentioned as well, actual Simon, who's watching it on Twitch, because you can watch it on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, of course. You can't call an international job poison chalice. Statistically, you will fail, considering there can only be one winner every 2 years. Yes and no. I agree with that to a degree. I will be. There is a subject that we're going to be talking about a little bit later on in the show, which I'm hoping might cover that as well. So I want to move on slightly to the next question, because this game against Iceland that we saw the other day, and also the game against Denmark, is England. We are in England, we live in England, but we can't watch this game on terrestrial TV. Now, should all England international fixtures, irrespective of the tournament, be allowed to be shown on terrestrial TV? I'll go to you, Dylan, first on this one.
100%. As I said the other day, I grew up watching England. Every couple, even if it was friendlies, you grew up watching them, BBC, ITV, and this tournament. What I don't actually see the point in it being on Sky, unless the money that they're getting is going towards the equal rights because the equal pay, so the girls are getting equal pay to the men now. Unless that's the reason why. Then I just don't see why, honestly.
Joby's watching the show. Very good friend of mine. Thank you for watching the show. The FA slogan: "Football for all." So, with that in mind, SJ, what are your thoughts on England games and England fixtures, all of them being shown on terrestrial TV?
They should be on terrestrial. Of course, they should be. You can't ask the country to get around the team, but then half the country can't watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even more so now during lockdown, right? During lockdown, where people can't actually get out. How do we get behind the national side?
Like I said the other day, though, they should do. The way the Premier League finished, and they were they had some games on pick. Just do something like that where you have to even if it's not on that, have to watch Quest or something like that.
But equally, guys, I think that things considered as well is that, look, without going too much into it, look, I'm against paying a TV license. I
am as well.
Yeah,
we pay for BBC. I'm happy not to have BBC. You can keep it.
What content have we got though from it? You get no content.
Right, so
BBC's
you know what I mean. So that's the thing. But if they're offering silly, so if they're offering like really poor amounts for the England games, and in Sky or whatever BT Sport, and they can't say, okay, fine, rather than the BT give you a tenner game, we're going to give you £50 a game. Then you've got to think about that as well, and that's the thing as well. So yeah, for sure, they should be on terrestrial television, but equally, it's up for the terrestrial channel owners, so to speak, the guys in charge there, powers that be. It's for them to come over like competitive packages, competitive offers. You know what I mean? Can't say, well,
like,
you know what?
You're right, because like BBC, they are getting a lot of money out of the British public paying your TV license. ITV, they've got advertising already. That's how they get their money. So why aren't ITV stepping up? I know most of the time, well, the friendly games and qualifiers are shown on ITV. Why are they not paying that extra little bit to get the Nations League? It doesn't even have to be the whole of the home nations. I think it should be all the home nations, but we're in England and we can only really talk on England, so to speak, in this subject. But why are you not paying that extra little bit just to ensure that we can watch our country? Because we're meant to be, it's our country. We should be able to support our country for as little or as no money as possible.
Yeah.
But then show it in a pub, so then we'll go invest in the economy that way, or we go to the supermarket and buy a load of beers and watch it with our friends or whatever. Obviously, no more than 6 in a house because of social distancing and stuff. But we should be able to do that sort of thing. I don't understand why the Nations League is so different to the rest of the qualifiers, World Cup, Euros, what qualifies for those, or the international tournaments themselves. I don't see the reasoning behind it all.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one because it all boils down to the money, guys. It all boils down to the money. So it's a great idea for sure. Things should be made available, but that's what I mean. Look, and we're talking about from football aspect. What about? I mean, my dad, he's a big cricket fan. Before all the test matches would be on. You know what I mean? They was on terrestrial television.
Yeah, they were on 5, weren't they?
Back in the day, they were on BBC. I remember
BBC.
I remember when West Indies got 692 for 8 declared, and Brian Lara scored a shed ton of us. But I watched that with my grandma on BBC.
Yeah, and that's been said. That's now gone. Okay, the golf, any golf is now gone. The tennis has now gone.
We used to have Grandstand when we were a kid, like on BBC One on a Saturday afternoon. But before then, on Channel 4, we'd have Gazzetta Football Italia, we'd have Gaelic games, we'd have Kabaddi.
It's more, Kabaddi, yeah. But it's more competitive now. So again, if you want to get in, okay, if you want to get in, it's the same. Like, to be fair with Sky, I don't knock Sky at all because they revolutionised live football. Like, their build-ups are
sport as a whole.
No,
look, I've got Sky and BT at home, and so it was easy for me to watch the game. But like, that doesn't make me. I'm not trying to sound like I'm in a privileged position. Some people have got Sky, some people haven't. Some people have got a Virgin box and only have BT Sport on theirs. For argument's sake, that's what I used to have. But even though I've got Sky, it doesn't mean that I'm okay with watching England on Sky. I should be able to watch that on BBC, and I think it should be on BBC or ITV.
Then you're asking for the powers that be for those channels to make a decent offer. So when times come for renewal, they can't say, well, okay, fine, you've been with Sky for 4 years, and they've given you £10 million per year, so it's a £40 million package for 4 years, and now we're going to offer you 20 million. That's the thing. They're making like poor offers. Then what do you expect? That it's that balancing act. Like, you look at the boxing. Look at boxing on Sky compared to
boxing. This is the thing, though. Boxing's actually worth paying for. You're watching England, boys. Most of the time, it's boring. It's like it is, though, innit? You watch England.
It's not lying.
It's true, though, innit? You're watching boxing, and at least one of the fights is going to be a knockout. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Dylan was involved in the watch along that we were doing on Saturday, and at one point we decided to talk about whether we believe Tupac's alive or not.
Yeah, that's
it was painful, but then I see what you mean where you're going with that. But at the same time, like, you can't guarantee a good game. You know, I'm an Arsenal fan. I've gone down to the Emirates. I've paid my money, and I can't guarantee when I've travelled from Northampton. I paid my train. 40 quid on my train. I paid. It weren't. It was a Category C game, so I was only paying 35 quid for my ticket. But that's 75 quid. I also had to get a cab to the train station and back. That's another 20 quid. So and then a couple of beers on the train. I haven't even bought a beer at the stadium yet. I've already spent 100 quid, and I'm watching 0-0. So you
How
can't
much are the tickets?
It varies. It varies. You know, if you're in the lower tier, it's cheaper than the upper tier. Don't know why. A Category A game will charge anywhere from £60 up to 120. Category C game, which will be like, so for this season, a Cat C game would be, you know, like Burnley or something. That would be 30
probably the Arsenal games. Category C, Arsenal. Category C.
Yeah, straight up. Champions League. Oh, bloody! I'll tell you what. Before we move on to the next subject, I've got a little funny story. Arsenal, was it last season? Yeah, last season in the league group stage of the Europa League, we had to play against Braga, I think it was. No, Vitória Guimarães in Portugal, but they had to play on a Wednesday, and I was like, "Hey, look, Arsenal back on telly on a Wednesday night in Europe, major bits." Oh my god! Right, it's sort of off the back of the England game at the weekend. But going forwards into other things as well, should VAR be used in the Nations League? Because there were 3 outright situations that happened just in the England game alone, and there was various other decisions that happened around Europe. But the England game, the Harry Kane goal, which was chalked up after 6 minutes, that was never offside. That was never offside. And the 2 penalties, I think, are very, very suspect. And I feel that VAR will be able to come in and influence those decisions, but there's no VAR on it. So do you think VAR should be used in the Nations League? SJ?
Yeah, I think they should. And you know what? I think the referee, if he's to review his decision, I want to see the referee. I don't want to hear an earpiece. Go over to the TV monitor. They do it in all other sports. Run into the TV monitor, quick as you like. It takes 20 seconds. Over you go. Thanks very much, and come back. All this listening to his ear and hang on and wait a minute and just give us a second and right. Okay, it's ridiculous.
But in most of the other leagues, in like Italy, they actually go over to it and look at it. Most of the time, I've actually watched it.
Dylan, every country apart from England.
Apart from England, they just go, nope. Like it's
and if it was quick, I wouldn't mind if it's a quick thing, but it's not. It can be a bit of a saga. I mean, how many games, even last year's embarrassing, where the game's been continuing and the game's been played, and the referee, hang on, just got some earpiece.
Yeah.
It's now 2 minutes gone by, and then actually it's a penalty.
Yeah.
That happened. It was in the Tottenham versus Man City game, if you remember. It was literally about 2 minutes after we've forgotten about it. We moved on.
Yeah. It's awful. It's awful. They need to be sharp with it. And at the end of the day, if you need to if you need to draw in these lines and you have to shuffle and then it should be what happened to the striker getting the benefit of the doubt? That's gone. So actually, VAR actually favours the defenders. But then you have things like handball. I mean, Raheem Sterling, he's taken a shot. The guy's 2 yards away and he's hit his hand. 2 yards.
And his arms like that. For the purpose of anyone who is listening to the show and not watching the show, his arms are inside his body, so to speak. They're not in a natural position. He hasn't put his arm out or anything like that, and he's turned his back to it as well. And the referee's given a penalty off the back of that. Now, I'm happy that England won the game, but I'm very fair. I don't like winning in acrimonious circumstances like that. I don't feel that was a penalty in any way, shape, or form. If that was against my team, I'd be very aggrieved for that way.
Yep, agreed. And like I say, it's a tough one. I mean, it's got to a point where I think the concept, the concept's there, but until they actually really revisit, think, okay, fine, how can we make this better? Because there are a lot of fundamental flaws with VAR. Then it's like crikey, but the fact that even some of the cup games, it got used in some of the FA Cup games, but not in others. Great.
If you're in the Championship, you're not getting it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if the championship side, if the championship side's away. Now, Dylan, what are your thoughts on VAR as a whole? Are you a fan?
I am a fan of it, like, because it does get most of the decisions. It does get right. I think that's just I believe statistically, most of them it does get right, but like it just gives the referee that helping hand as well. But it needs to change the rule book, if you know what I'm saying, boys. Because like we're still like the offside, like how you look at the offside most of the time. You have to like tilt your screen, don't you, boys? Like, you know what I'm saying? You're looking at it, you're like thinking, wow, do I get the ruler on that and check out that it all needs they need to like start changing a bit of the rule book if they want to keep the VAR to actually work. I like it,
But
but it
that's
needs tweaking. It's
but
that was
that's
this season
that's
was
the
like a
thing.
sorry,
That's the thing,
sorry, you're
Dylan.
saying, Jay. Actually,
No, that's the thing. So they have to get out rulers and all sorts. Like, look at when they do the lines, and the lines are so close together, but yet
yeah,
the striker doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. I mean, seriously, some people had their toe offside. I mean, I'm not
yeah,
gonna lie. Obviously, I'm Liverpool, so you can hear my accent. But I know that when we played Chelsea, and Aspilicueta had a goal disallowed because Mason Mount had been his toe was offside about 20 seconds before they scored. I'm like, okay, but that's so poor. Like,
yeah,
your toe.
yeah.
It should be a clear limb. I think
This
so.
one, yeah,
Yeah, but then where do you
this what I'm
draw?
saying about the
You
rule
say
book.
it's a clear
But
limb. It's
but it
where do
should
you
be an
draw the
inside.
line on that? I think that's a difficult one. Now, I've refereed for a number of years. I was never giant, massive time, but I did get to semi-pro. I did a lot of semi-pro games and reserve Premier League games. And VAR for me, I never was a fan of it. I don't like it, and I feel that in the next 15 years there won't even be referees anymore.
No,
And
it won't be.
when
There won't be.
when when I when I was refereeing and when I was coming through, I felt that would be the beginning of the demise of the referee. You work so hard to get where you want to be and what you need to be doing and stuff, and then it's just going to get taken away from you for the decision. I'm not a fan of VAR at all. However, I do believe that they should, England in particular, we should be adopting the rest of the circumstances that go around Europe. So go to the monitor. I think that is really important.
Yeah,
Anthony is watching the show. Thanks for watching the show. He says VAR should be used. However, the powers that be should apply some common sense when using it to ensure there's no long stoppages.
And
You know,
Anthony, that sounds great, Anthony. But you're asking for the powers that be. You've got people who are the powers that be who have no, they're hardly half of them have never kicked a ball in their life. They've been in their jobs for about 600 years. They're
dinosaurs.
dinosaurs. It's the thing. You need to look if you want the best for a sport, you need to get people who and to have played the sport, understood the sport, right? In order for the better sport. Otherwise, we used to have people like, may rest in peace, whatever. But Jimmy Hill was all right. He's an adequate footballer. At least you kind of know a bit. You know what I mean? It's different now. Like you look at Match of the Day now, whenever Match of the Day, Sky, whatever. In fact, they've got people who were recent pros on the game, and they're breaking down. You get far more insight from Roy Keane, Genus, Shearer, Ferdinand. Owen Hargreaves. You're getting far more insight now for a kid who's maybe 10, 11, 12 years old and wants to play a particular position. They're giving little online coaching there. They're getting little tidbits. And they'll say, for any kid who wants to do this, who wants to be a pro, this is the sort of things we're looking for. Would you have got that level of insight from like Jimmy Hill? No. No. So the fact of the matter is that, look, at the end of the day, it's not great, but we're in a position now where we're getting better football. VAR, yeah, and then we're asking for the powers that be to relinquish power to people who understand the game a little bit more. That's a big ask.
I think what they should do, and just say, right, the three of us, we're going down to the pub right now. Okay, we're going to go play a game of pool. Before we even put 50p or a quid into the pool table, we establish the rules that we're going to play first, don't we?
yeah.
Are we doing two on the black? Are two shots carrying? Can I do this? Can I do that? We establish these rules first. In football, they don't. you literally turn to training, you get given a ball, off you go, run around. I think when you get to a certain age, everybody should be taught the laws of the game. And because that's what referees do. All referees are doing are making sure that the laws of association football are being adhered to. That's it. It's as simple as that. So we can talk about tactics and this, that, and the other. That's got nothing to do with the laws of the game in any way, shape, or form. There's a book you could get it on. You could actually read the laws of the game for free. But what you can do, what you should do when you get to a certain age at any club, whether you're a grassroots or a professional club, you should be taught the laws of the game. And then, with that in mind, SJ, as you were saying, you want people that have experienced or that have played the game to do it. If you're 16, 17, 18 years old, you've been cut from a Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, hell, even a Leighton Orient, a Doncaster, a Brighton. It doesn't really matter who you've been cut from. You've still got a path into football. And one of those paths could be refereeing, but you've got the experience and know-how having played the game, and now you could use that at a referee's point of view.
You've probably refereed me, Gav. You probably booked me as well, probably.
I don't know. Do you know what? I've never seen your face before, so you must have got away with it. You must have been one of the good ones.
I'm all right. Honestly, they used to make me captain, so I could just behave myself, really. But yeah, it was awful.
Dylan, so look, we're talking about VAR, but like, I'm now going to sort of like direct it back to should it be used in the Nations League? There's 55 UEFA nations, or 53 or something like that. This is the A League. This has got England, Holland, Germany, Spain. Should at least the A League be using VAR?
This is what I was saying, boys. Do you know what I was saying? Like, it gives them a little bit of a helping hand. The players in that league are they're just so quick. Sometimes when the VAR, when they do the clip, you know, like the snapshots of them, they're like the free frames. You can't actually. They're that quick. They skip 1 minute. They're off onside. Next thing you know, they're like, and they're through and goal. You're like, whoa, what? Like that's also a problem. They need to get better cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because
there's enough money in the game as well.
They're not picking that, like, it's like the if you know what I mean. It's not that. It's that.
Yeah, there's a difference between playing like a PS1 and a PS4, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like which
jumpy
around it is.
No, that's a good shout, Dylan. You know what I mean? The technology, like, you know, it needs to improve. I mean, look, we'll see, guys. We got new seasons like this week, and you know, I think, you know, if it's either used or it isn't, and it's not fair that someone like Krill Alexandra could be subjected to a number of dubious calls throughout the season, but because they're not regarded as being part of the rich and the elite, then they don't benefit from it. You know, it's either you have VAR or you don't. Simple. You know, and I think
this is what it's laid out in the professional game. I'm not expecting Wrexham to have one.
Yeah,
but I'm expecting Salford to have one because it's in the professional game.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts on it. We've been talking about a couple of nations, England in particular. We also mentioned a moment ago about countries in the A division. One team that's in the A division who are only in there by the scruff of their neck because of the reform of the Nations League is Germany, and they've been having a torrid time over the last few years. What is happening with the German national side? Now, a little bit of insight on them as well. They got to the semi-finals of Euro 2016. Since then, yes, they qualified for the World Cup in 2018, but they were defending that title and they went out in the group stage. And they are now 6 Nations League games without a victory. What is happening with the German national side as a whole?
Expectation levels are too. Look, they had a wonderful team. So when they won the World Cup, they had a wonderful team, and you know, a lot of those players then have since passed their best, so to speak. You know, not for the same level. You know, look at Maurizio, like Götze. I mean, look at him. He scored their winner, and now he can't get a game, right? So
he can't get a club. It's free agent.
He can't get a club, yeah.
So I mean, so it happens. I mean, you know, again, if people are going to talk about, you know, when Spain won the World Cup, then when they came to defend it, what happened? They went out in a group stage, correct?
Yeah.
Right. it happened to. They're not the first. They're not the only teams it happened to. Spain struggled, went out early doors, bang, thanks very much. And Germany, those teams would come again, just like France did. They came again.
Brazil are the last team to win a World Cup and not go out at the group stage.
Well,
They're the
look at
last team to do it.
Holland got to the final in 2010 and haven't been back since.
I think the gulf
Tough.
between, because we were talking about this in a WhatsApp group earlier on today, and I feel that with Holland, they haven't got the star-studded players that they used to. The conveyor belt is there's a little spanner in the works a little bit. I think they're waiting for the next.
Nah,
you think so?
It's coming, but it's coming.
It's coming, Dylan. Exactly.
It's about to overload though, because
you think so? They've got Diligent. They've got
they've got
Dutch
at
flag
the
lads.
moment. There it is. It's showing off his Dutch flag. I do love Holland, though. I'll be honest. I really do love Holland. But the conveyor belt stopped, and now there's a lot of products coming through. But it's almost like it's stockpiled whilst they were trying to fix the mechanism.
But this is always happens. This is what always happens. And like you got France that year. I think that was 2010 as well. Do you know when like half the players went home? I had a fight in training. Yeah. 10 years later, the champions of the world, because it's like, England, I think, when was that? 2000. When was it when we had Steve McLaren and we didn't even qualify?
2007, they failed to qualify for Euro 2008.
Yeah, and now look at us, we've got this like all these elite youngsters who are coming through. It's like if you've had something like that, this is what I've had like. It's like the youth system sort of picks itself up and goes, listen, we need to sort ourselves out. So in 10 years, we've got the best youths. And it does seem to be a reoccurring thing in my eyes. Like, and now look, Germany, they've been struggling. All of a sudden, they got, like, I know you're saying that they've got 6 losses, but Manuel Neuer's been injured. Like, I know he's just came back, but for most of them, he's been injured.
Like they've got Trapp, they've got Ter Stegen, who's arguably one of the best goalkeepers in world football right now.
He is, but with Germany, he seems to struggle.
Yeah, I just look at the talent that he's still knocking around for Germany. I don't see any reason why they're struggling so much.
I know they shouldn't but if you think about this solid team, wow, the Timo Werner, Sane,
Gnabry,
that's the one. Goretzka in the midfield,
Kimmich.
Havertz, Kimmich.
Kimmich.
You keep going like they've got players coming through. They're going to be, even at the back. He's not quick, but he's bang on solid. That Nicholas Sula.
I talk about Sula a lot, right? Because
he's a unit.
He is a unit. He's 6'5", but he has no pace. But
looks like the guy from Rocky.
Yeah, his awareness is just so it's incredible. But like, I just think I look at the German national side, and there is a level of expectation. Now, I was sat down with my missus last night, and we were actually talking about it a little while ago, about the assistant manager always does all the work and the manager gets the praise or gets vilified for it. And I was talking about Paul Clement, because Paul Clement was the assistant manager to Carlo Ancelotti for a number of years and a many-year job. And Ancelotti was winning titles left, right and centre, doing this, that and the other. When he went on to go get his own job, it didn't really work for him. Now, Hansi Flick, it's worked the other way around. He's actually gone off and got his own job, and it's worked out brilliantly for him. But Germany's national side started dipping after they won the World Cup in 2014, and that's when Hansi Flick left. So is it a case of Yogi Löw, maybe is he a bit past his time? Is he Wengerifying his life?
Do you know? I mean, possibly. I mean, you got to bear in mind that Hansi Flick he's exception, not the rule. By the way, like there are some people, you're number 2 for a reason, because it's like some players. There's many players who I see move club. Okay, look at Hazard. Hazard should never have left Chelsea.
Yeah, I don't think he should either. I think
he should never left Chelsea, right? It was the system was perfect for him. imagine him now being under no disrespect to Zidane, but with Real Madrid, they buy a player and then they can discard you after 12 months. After they spent the previous 12 months, before trying to destabilize you and do all sorts, to upset you, to get to us for a transfer, and then they get a play. Then the year 2 years later, we don't want you anymore. Out you go. Like again, poison chalice, right? So that bit I don't really agree with, right? I think that there are certain players who should stay at the club, and just like I think there are certain people, coaches who should be a number 2. And let's say like someone like Brendan Rodgers would be a good coach. He's not a good manager.
He's not a good manager. No,
not at all.
He's a brilliant coach, and you know that word gets banded around a lot. You don't really get managers of clubs anymore in top flight and stuff. But I think Yogi Löw is running himself into the ground. He should have. For me, I think he should have left after winning the World Cup. On
the pinnacle, go on a high. But
go out on a big high.
He's
linked with many clubs around Europe as well. And that side there, it was going to be a rebuild. We knew it was going to be a rebuild, but there were still a lot of decent players in that German national side that could have gone up. Well, they got to the semi-final of Euro 2016, so it's not like they weren't good enough. I just felt they were a bit unlucky more than anything else. But that performance that they put in the 2018 World Cup was an absolute embarrassment.
Yeah,
but who's the number 2? It's not someone like a Hansi Flick anymore.
Well, I feel for Lowe because, it's sad actually because he's actually Germany's second greatest manager. After Klopp. So it's a.
I forgot I was surrounded by two of them as well. That's God. You did really well. You've done really well. As we're coming towards the latter part of the show, you've done really well not to throw it out there and stuff. Another question: Is the Charity Shield a real trophy? No, I'm only joking. Sorry. I'm taking a mick.
I nearly bit. I was
it's the only thing I've got at the moment. It's the only thing I've got. Give me a break. Soccer Ed was last night. Did you guys see it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I love Soccer Aid. I think it's a really good crack. It's just, you get to see some old pros that you loved when you were a kid. You get to see some like celebrities. You want to take the mick out of some of them. Some of them are really good, like Serge. What a player he is. He didn't really turn it on yesterday, but what are your thoughts on Soccer Aid as a whole? Is it a good idea? Bad idea?
See, anyone says it's a bad idea, it's for charity. So you can't say it's a bad idea. It's a good idea.
Yeah. What's that?
So you're a fan of it?
Yeah, with me. I think it's good. I think it's good for the charity. It's good for as well, and it's good. Like obviously, most of the time there's actually fans there as well, so it's good laugh as well. Didn't you?
It's a good crack. I mean, I've been before. Me and Stephen Cotton, one of the main hosts of Two at Top. Me and him, we went up to Old Trafford a couple of years ago to watch it, and we had a great time. It was when Eric Cantona made his little cameo appearance as well, which was awesome. I just think that these sort of things, I feel they should happen more often. I really like the idea of it. The whole Soccer Aid thing, and I feel that they should take it around the country as well. Probably do maybe 2, maybe 3 a season, and do one in the north, one in the south, one in the Midlands to allow the fans to go along and enjoy their time.
Yeah, it's a good shout. They can even do it really. And they got rest of the world, blah blah. They could actually, as a continent, like Europe versus the African nations versus the Americas. You know what I mean? They could sort of do that as well. And then you got like best. Then you got sort of best of the rest sort of thing, rest of the world sort of thing. So they could do that. Really, they could. But look, I think it's great that they're doing it. Anybody who says it's not a worthwhile thing, well, crikey, you're bar humbug. But I thought it was enjoyable. Some talented players out there for sure. I've got to give a shout out to Ollie Mers actually because
I love Ollie
Mers. He's not a friend of mine. He's not a friend of mine. He's after.
Is he actually one of your pals?
We go back. a number of years. We did a couple of things together, but yeah, he's a good lad.
I love Ollie Murs. Oh, I say it's my mate. So I love Ollie Murs. I want him to be my
Yeah,
mate.
He's a good lad. No, he's
Get him on the show.
he's a good lad. Honestly, I wish I could. But yeah, he's a good lad.
Yeah.
Before all the X Factor stuff, way before when he's at Witham or Witham Town, whatever.
Yeah, Whittam Town. Yeah.
Good boy.
Mark Wright put in a good performance at left back. I felt
Good player.
He's a good player. He turned to put Wrestling Diamonds at my way for a little bit as well. He's a good player. But no, Serge is making major moves, man. If it weren't for his music career, I reckon he could have made it pro because he's actually got some techers, man. Remember that worldie that he scored a few years back in soccer?
Yeah, the little chip.
Yeah, he's a winner. But you know what? Is his name Jeremy Lynch? He does all the
yes, all the F2 freestylers.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Is good when there's no one else around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, boys?
Yeah, he's great in a pair of trainers. Yeah. Right.
Oh dear. And Dill, who would you say your man of the match was yesterday?
Ashley Cole or Patrice Evra.
Yeah, Evra was going. Evra hit 2 nutmegs. And
Evra killed it. But Ashley Cole just got told, listen, go and play the free. Yeah, and he just went done whatever he wanted. Played in every position. I think he even played in goal at one little point.
Yeah.
Adam Simon watching the show. Jeremy Lynch is a maggot.
No, but he is right. Because
who cares about his skills and that? Who cares about it? Hey, look, I do like the videos that he puts out. They are pretty cool, but it's proven there that in an 11-side situation, he can't cut it. It's nice for charity and stuff. I really get it, but he can't really. He's not a very good footballer as a whole. There you go. Well, that's just about it for us today. I've been Gav Mac. That is Dylan down there, and that is SJ up there with me. Now, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at Top Football on all social media, or you can actually just put it in www.youtube.com/c/Top Make sure you also follow the Armchair Pundits page as well. Make sure you do that. Dylan's a big part of that, so make sure you see what he's doing. But did you know if you put Two Up Top Football, well, you don't have to put football, just put Two Up Top into Google, our name comes up first. Happy days. Thanks everybody, and ta-ra.
1 sec. Go. Just before you go.
Go for it.
Before you go. 14th of September. Remember to download.
Oh my God, as if I didn't say that. Do you know what? I quit. Dylan, you take over, mate. Make sure you download Soccer Manager 2021 on the 14th of September. It's available on the App Store and Google Play Store. I think that'll do you, boys. Take care.
Peace out, people.
Cheers.